Welcome to the Run Radio podcast. My name's Trinette, and my guest today is Brian Johnson. We're going to talk a little bit about our health and well-being. How are you?
Great and enthusiastic to be here. Always fun stuff to talk about with health and wellness, huh?
Yeah, we were just talking how you had already been out for your walk. I also like to start the day getting my blood pumped, going, and getting the workout out of the way. So, what has it always been that way for you? And what's your health and wellness journey? Not just fitness, but how has your whole health journey been?
Yeah. So, in just full disclosure, I'm always going to be Brian because I don't know how to be Frank, right? So I'm 45 years young. I started doing the health thing when I was 7. So my 39 years of adult or just existence on our planet here has been in some way, form, or fashion gearing up to help people really in suffering. So I got picked on a lot when I was little. I had an older half brother. He used to torture me, and I'd lock myself into the restroom and scream at the top of my lungs because my parents weren't home. So as I kind of look back, I had some very interesting moments. But I've also, and that would lead me to believe why I've been 250 different times. So I know both sides of the equation, and I know that a lot of the issues people have is emotional stuff, which is really when I got into body language, like understanding itches and scratches and using that kind of information to recode traumas and to become emotionally conscious and intelligent, right? And we'll talk about that today because that's the best way I can add value for you. Because the value of where I'm coming from now is being able to solve problems in seconds most of the time if people are interested in it. Because when I get around people, their body starts talking or itching or stuttering. That's all code. It's not because someone has a stutter problem. The number is actually code, right? So 2 is apathy, or I can't, this is too hard. 3 is sorrow, sadness, or grief. 4 is fear, and 5 is anger. And I'll show you a chart too, and I'll take this off so you can see it. So this little chart I'm going to show you, I'm going to give to you for free. This way you can track this stuff for yourself, right? So this stuff right here, if you can kind of see it, those little circles right there on those chart are the homes. When I say the homes, legitimately, they are the locations where emotions are going to show up. So for example, because as we're going through this, as I help you to track this, you're gonna be like, oh my God, it is. I know it's going on 24/7, but until we can track it and become conscious of it, people are hurting all day long with things that they've been holding on for 30 or 40 years that they think they've dealt with, but their body's like, not so much, right? So if you think about a little circle right here, okay? This is where sorrow or sadness shows up when it's active, meaning when it's home, okay? When it's home, think about an experience in your past where you had sorrow or sadness or where you felt like crying. Shows up in your throat as a tension, okay? Go back, you'll track it, right? So you have sorrow, sadness, you have fear or anxiety. There's your next nugget. Ditch the word anxiety and don't ever use it again. Just ask yourself, when you feel anxious, where do I feel it at? Okay, because fear is going to show up right here, which is anxiety. Okay, grief is going to show up in your solar plexus. Fear will also show up in your stomach, like you're hungry, even though you already ate. That's a good one because I didn't know that until probably about 4 years ago. I've done that 3 different times. Okay.
Wow.
So I tell you that because I'm in better shape now than I was over here at 30, at 40, almost 46 on show day. And it's not one of these. What I'm going to do is help you find your version of that. Okay. And the only way you're going to do that is to become that version of you from the inside out. That's what most people don't get. So when you talk about getting in shape, our book's called Think Great, Lose Weight, because it's the thinking part that's a big deal. And most of the stuff that we've been taught is not at all anywhere what's going to be of service to you in your movement forward effectively and consciously, right? So the last 2 pieces. So you have below your belly button is subconscious grief, and on your back is anger. Now we can get really specific on whether it's about another male or whether it's about another female, because the body language got me hooked for life. It really did. When I came across it, I saw how fast it worked. I've never seen it not work. I'm in for life. And thank God I had a good couple, probably 30,000 hours into nutrition before I came across that stuff, because I'm in it for life. Because I see, and what I'll help you, and I'll show you some stuff today so that way you have some understanding. Because when I show you this and you realize how simple it is, how logical, you're like, wow, that was easy. I know. And that means you can take trauma that you have for 30 or 40 years that's still active and clean it up in seconds. Here's the crazy part. We don't ever have to talk about, well, my dad said this or my mom said, none of that stuff. All we got to do is find the home, the location, so we know what feeling is attached to the experience. And then I'll show you what to say, and voila, that's a wrap. Okay. So this right here is my Abra chart. I'll give you my chart for free and I'll leave you the show notes. Just text my text message number and comment the word chart. It'll pop up for you. I'll see you. I always do a one-time free call. And in 15 minutes, I can solve some of your worst stuff, and you will be amazed at how simple it is, right? So there's a couple of pieces about where I've kind of come from. I've also been suicidal, done crazy amounts of drugs. I'm a very open-minded person and very open book. Also done about 9 months in jail. So I have got all the hats when it comes to taking my life and figuring out how to get my head out of my hiney. And by the grace of God, I'm actually here to tell you about it, to tell you what not to do, but also to tell you what to do. So where do you want to go from there?
Okay, let's see. So at 7, you wanted and felt like you were designed for the health realm. What got you off track where you did go down some of those bad paths?
Well, I think a lot of it, I was always in sports and I was always in church. So I had some very good foundational groundings early in life. I didn't get crazy until I got out of school to about 18, 19. That's when things started showing up for me. And really what set me off on a bender was this. Getting picked on a lot made a big difference because I was always eating to grow. So I started working out with my dad when I was 7 because we had weights in the garage. And then I had a World's Gym membership in 5th grade where I worked out with my older brother who used to pick on me, half brother. Okay. That kind of set the tone for a lot of my unconscious patterns I was experiencing, but I didn't know. What really got me is when I turned 20, maybe 21, I had a relationship, first one ever. I was head over heels in love with. She ended up doing some stuff with some other person, and it got me. I lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks from someone who ate all the time, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, started doing drugs on top of it. Bad idea. Okay. So really within that experience is kind of when I made up that I didn't love myself. Now here's the most important part to anything I will ever share with you, family. If you don't love yourself, it's okay. You need to know that. Because when I thought that I loved myself, not only was I off my rocker, I was 180 degrees off the facts or off the truth. And I was operating thinking that it was other than such. And that's a problem because if you don't know that, that means vibrationally speaking, whatever you're going and doing in life, whoever you're being, your feelings is what's creating more experiences. So think about this. Think about every feeling. Like, remember, you got your feelings on here, okay? And we'll go through this and use this a lot. Every feeling has a file, okay? It has a file of other people who are going to help you feel that way, other circumstances, situations, and events that match how we feel. Example, I've totally blown out. This piece of my bicep is somewhere up there. I've smashed, blown out my left inner groin and created 2 car wrecks, all because I had stuff going on in my relationship for 3 days, 4 different occasions that I was hot about. I didn't clean up. Sometimes I didn't have the tools, but sometimes I did have the tools. And when you don't clean it up and you are spiritually response able, watch, because you're going to have karma come back quicker, or the things that are going to give you the lesson faster. So when you can ask yourself, when you got stuff going on in your relationship or you have people showing up that are not so bueno, ask yourself, what is my teacher attempting to teach me? Because that allows me to extract myself out of the mud, so to speak, and look at it from a higher perspective and analyze what's really going on so I can make adjustments faster. And as I'm making the adjustments, these tight spots are going to go away, family. Example, let's say you have fear, okay? Fear is going to show up as a tension right here or in your stomach where you feel like you're hungry, even though you already ate. I used to eat a lot because I had anxiety, but I didn't know that. Didn't know it was a thing, okay? So when you have fear act, there's a couple things, and this is something you can do right now, and I highly suggest you do because you can do this at any point in time of the day or night. It's very simple. So if you track where you're breathing from, if your stomach is not going out, that's not good. It's not going to kill you, maybe. And what happens is if you're breathing from your chest and your shoulder blades are going up, that means you're stuck in fight or flight or freeze or fear. Okay? Most people are there. Most people don't have a clue this is going on. I'm giving you high level nuances that you can use any second, any moment of now to get clear on where you're at, right? So let's say you are breathing from your chest. Okay, then now what do I do? Here's what you do. Okay, and I'll walk you through it real quick, and I'll give you a nugget you can use right now. So this is my Abra chart, like abracadabra poof to create with words. That's exactly what we're doing. And I'm going to give you a code now that you can use until we're no longer in a meat suit. Okay, so A in Abra is awareness. Let's say fear or anxiety is the most common one for most people. And if I can show you cancel, as I show you how to transmute it on the spot, you can use this forever. And it works every time. I've never had what I'm about to tell you not work. I will throw myself into the worst situations and clean it up with people. So that way, you know, for certain. Okay. I've seen issues that people have been paying for with their therapist for 30 or 40 years go away in seconds every time. The value of body language is you don't have to guess about it. You're going to know if it's still there or if it's gone because your state's going to change and the tightness is going to dissipate or completely go away. That's how you know. So no matter how many times we do this, I'm always going to direct you back to you. So you know what you is feeling, not what I'm thinking or what I think. My job is to get you back into your own home so you can track the codes that it's giving you. And then I'm going to show you how to change them. Okay. So we have Abra chart. A is awareness. We'll say, all right, and just say this, just go along. I always do this. Whenever I need to work on myself or whenever I'm in the weeds or stress happens, I'll say, I give myself permission to feel my feelings and it's okay. Now notice my head went down, which is code number 1. Okay, code number 2. That means that's a double validation. Here's an example. If I would have said, I give myself permission to feel my feelings and it's okay, that's a question mark. My body's like, not so much. So then I'll say it again. I give myself permission to feel my feelings and it's okay. That's a statement that went down into my body. Does that make sense? That's very important because watch, as you're doing this, your inner ninja is going to try to out inner ninja you because it does not want to feel what's going on. So the smarter you get, the more ninja your Jedi is going to get. So as I'm doing these things with you out loud, is so you can hear and so you can see. And that way I can tell you like what my body's doing. So you also can track like, oh, that's what that means. Because here's what also happens. There's going to be times when you're doing this and your head's going to go boom. No, and it happens fast. Listen, this is always going on. Always. Okay. How often have you had an experience where you're talking to someone and the whole time they should be doing this, they're doing this? Exactly. Watch how often this happens now that I'm helping you track this, because when that happens, does it mean they're lying? Maybe. It means you should ask some more questions if you're doing some type of arrangement or business or personal relationship with this person, because obviously they're incongruent. Something's off. Okay. Doesn't mean they're lying. Just means something needs to be cleaned up if you're going to explore a further relationship with this person because something's out of tune. Okay. Now back in action. So Abra, A, awareness. Right now, if you had fear active or you're breathing from your chest, here's what you're going to say. And just do it out loud for yourself. I give myself permission to feel my feelings and it's okay. Often you will feel your body relax instantly because a lot of the problem is we haven't been, have you ever had a class on feeling your feelings? Me neither.
I don't know that I have.
You have?
No, I said I don't know that I have.
Okay. Wow, you're the only person in millions.
No. We
Right?
probably should though.
100%. Like there's a
Right.
reason why we're not taught about what I call the 3 F's: food, feelings, and finances, because that's how everyone's controlled. Okay, that's why my information is banned and censored. I have to be very careful with what I say. That's why I enjoy podcasts, because I can tell you like, hey, test this out and let me know what you notice. Because what I tell you, it's going to work in seconds or it's not going to work. And I've never had it not work. Okay, so we have awareness, breathe. You're always going to focus on your breathing, pushing down to your stomach. I say breathe to your toes. Now, once you clean up whatever's out of alignment where you have tension at, your breathing is going to shift instantly. It's a byproduct of being emotionally in alignment. Your body knows what to do. All I'm doing is helping you to consciously connect the dots. Okay. So Abra, A, awareness. Fear is going to show up right here or in your stomach as a tension. Okay. I give myself permission to feel my feelings and it's okay is what you say to get yourself to a state where you can feel. That way your body will relax. So awareness, breathe. The first R is release. So here's what you're going to say. Whenever you find wherever you have tension at on here, on your little spots, right now we're working here, fear, and we're also working fear right there. So when I say, I give myself permission to feel my fear and it's okay, my body said yes, and my downswing went down. Now look, what I'm about to tell you next is going to transmute it. every time in seconds. It's going to happen every time. So when you say this is why you do it out loud so you can hear yourself until you get good at it. When you get good at it, you can say it internally and your body's still going to respond. I'm just doing it out loud so you can hear the tonality, and the codes going on. So you have a what I call a double validation. Example, when you get your chart, you're going to see these numbers in there. Okay. That 4 is for fear. So when you hear hey, whatever the word is, start counting the number. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, what is that? My charts. Pull out your screensaver. It's what I have my clients do. Put it on there. So that way you know, oh, that's a 4. What did Brian say? My chart says, oh, that's fear. Okay. I give myself permission to feel my fear, and it's okay. So that's the first R in Abra. Here comes the second one. Now, this is what's going to transmute it. So pay attention on what's going on because it should shift instantly. You may already notice some things already a little lighter, and that's good because every time we do another piece of Abra, a little bit of it's going to pop away or a little bit of the iceberg is going to chip off to where we get full movement. Okay. So here comes the recode, and this is how fast in seconds you use it. Here it goes. I give myself permission to love my fear into my courage and my faith. My head went down, my downswing went down. And if I had fear active, that would instantly dissipate it. And it would generally go away or drastically reduce unless there's other stuff in there. But that is how simple it is. You don't ever have to get in. Like if you're in the weeds with someone, because I work with doctors, chiropractors, functional medicine doctors, teaching them these skill sets because you don't have to get into, well, they said that, none of that stuff. And I'll just show you this real quick. Check this out. You'll like this, Trina. Pull up someone in your past or maybe your current partner relationship. Pull up somebody that you would like to know if you have everything cleaned up, or if someone you had a lot of trauma with and you've done a lot of work on, pull that person up. Let me know when you have them real quick.
Okay.
Got them? All right. Listen, every time we do this, we're going back to the same system. We're going back to the A, awareness. So I'm going to say, I give myself permission to feel my feelings and it's okay. Once I say that, that gets me to a neutral state to where I can feel what's going on. Okay. So now once you have your person pulled up, here's what you're going to do. Let me know if you have tension anywhere in your throat. Any tension show up in your throat?
It's mostly here.
Okay, good. Now that's great job for saying that. Okay. So listen, when people, so you know, back right here, back is over here. This is anger, burden, resentment, or frustration. Okay. Now look, this is important because this may be a caveat or a one-time example, but every time someone is coming to me with anger stuff, there's always something happened first before anger shows up. Anger is a byproduct. From my experience, every time when people are like, man, I got a lot of anger. Okay, great. Where do you feel that at? Okay, so great job on pointing those out. Let's track this real quick. Do you have anything on the front line? Do you have anything that shows up in your throat?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's important because what happens is there's always going to be an OG or original. Okay, the original one is gonna, when we do that one, the other one's going to subside. And we're going to do it right quick so you can see it live and your family members will have some things you can use today. Here you go. So let's track the rest of them. So does anything show up in your chest?
No.
Okay, how about
Right
your solar plexus?
Yep. Down here.
So would you say
here, and then here, like right
in the center between your solar plexus and above your belly button?
right at the like diaphragm.
Okay, so
area.
perfect. Solar plexus. All right, so here's what we got. And I'll give you my chart for free. That way you can handle it because look, there's multiple ways to use Abra. We can use it just standalone with no person in mind to see what we're tracking. There's also pulling up one person at a time, meaning don't pull up a group or a family. Pull one person up and your body's going to tell you instantly what it's tracking. And we're going to help Trina clean it up so you can see it in real time, but also so you can feel how fast it is to clean it up. Because you can legitimately, and I'll help you with this, clean up your entire lineage in 30 minutes to an hour. Okay, a lot. All right, so here we go. So we have yes for throat. We have yes on solar plexus, which is going to be grief. Throat is sorrow or sadness. And then you said you had anything in stomach or below belly button?
Not below belly button, just above belly button.
All right, perfect. So here we go. So here's what we got, fam. We have back stuff, which is anger. We have throat, which is going to be sorrow or sadness, and I'll help you rewire it in a second. And then we also have solar plexus, which is grief. From my experience, grief will show up in two places. here or below your belly button. And that is the three stutter. Whenever you hear it, three, you have three locations. You have throat, that's sorrow and sadness. You also have grief in solar plexus or sternum, and you also have grief below your belly button. Listen to me, family. Whenever you hear someone stutter, pay attention. That's for you. The very fact you're hearing it is information for you. So when you hear a three stutter, you're going to say, I give myself permission to feel my feelings and it's okay. Because the only reason why someone would stutter is because they're not feeling what's going on. Okay. And when I help you catch this and you're like, oh my God, this is going on all the time and other people are doing it so I can track myself. That's right. Okay. So when you hear a 3 or a 4, that stutter, bust out your chart, leave it as your screensaver of your phone, because what I'm showing you how to do is become emotionally intelligent and conscious on what you're actually feeling, not what you're thinking. Okay. So we just did the awareness piece. A in Abra, A awareness. We're awareness. Trina has stuff in her throat, solar plexus, and on her back. Okay. Now the breathe part, always just push your breathing down into your toes. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to do grief first. So the first R is release. So you're going to say, I give myself permission to feel my grief and it's okay.
I give myself permission to feel grief and it's okay.
And that's important. This is where the body's going to start doing some interesting things, right? Because it's like, no. All right. So when someone leaves off my grief, it's a separator. It's okay. Ready? Here we go. We're going to make a little tweak. I give myself permission to feel my grief and it's okay.
I give myself permission to feel my grief and it's okay.
Good. The whole time your head is saying yes, because it's good. That's important because look, family, what I'm showing you how to do is talk to yourself and to be intelligent and conscious to know whether you have a no or you have a yes. That's critical because so many people are getting no's. They just don't know. And they're moving forward thinking they're in alignment and they're 180 degrees off the facts. Okay. This is why I love body language, because it doesn't matter. My body's going to tell me the truth and so is yours. I'm just helping you to read it. Okay. So here we go. So we got Abra chart. A, awareness. We're working on this spot right here, which is breathe. B is breathe. We're pushing our breathing down to our toes. First R is release. I give myself permission to feel my fear, my grief, whatever the checkpoint is. Okay. Now here comes the recode. All right. So here we go. Before we say that, just track your body. Does your body feel a little more relaxed just off of saying that?
Sure.
It'll be, I mean, it's micro amounts. Okay. Now watch. I give myself permission to love my grief into my joy.
I give myself permission to love my grief into my joy.
Yeah, now say it like a statement. You got
into my joy.
Good. Now put it all together in one.
I give myself permission to feel my grief into my joy.
Perfect. Now we're going to change the word feel to love. So I give myself permission to love my grief. Deep breath into my joy.
I give myself permission to love my grief into my joy.
Perfect. Now you got a head movement. Yes, that's good. So now track your solar plexus. Is it any lighter?
I could breathe a little cleaner.
Grief is lungs. If someone's rising up from 3 to 5 a.m. and that's not their choice, that's the lung meridian. That means grief or survival is active. If someone's rising up from 1 to 3 a.m., that's the liver. That's resentment. Okay. Those are very important because as your life, as you continue to move forward being a genius, these little nuances I'm giving you will help you interact more with your subconscious, which is 93% of our operation. Okay. So again, if you're waking up or rising up 1 to 3, that's resentment, that's liver. If you're rising up from 3 to 5 a.m., that's grief or survival or the lung. Okay. So now let's test this out. Track your shoulder blades. Are those any looser for yourself?
A little bit more relaxed.
Perfect. How about your throat?
A little bit.
Okay, so here's what we know. Grief was the kingpin because once we did grief, the other one subsided. Okay, so here's an example. Anger is generally going to show up after someone has maybe felt rejected or having grief or sorrow or sadness about something. And then it goes into anger as a protective mechanism so we can still move forward and be functional and not let it just beat us down, right? So just know whenever back stuff shows up, it's generally not the first one. The first one is going to be on the front line of the body. And all you do is just use your chart. I give myself permission to feel my feelings and it's okay. And then you can track in seconds. That way you know. Now, go ahead. What question you got?
No, it's just I wanted to kind of make sure that we get everything in before our time runs out. This body language and the way we talk to ourselves, that's been something studied over and over. And to learn how to do that is important because we are playing a record in our heads and it needs to be the right thing in our heads to get the right results. Like you're saying, how did this get on your radar in time for you to think, yes, I need to put this into practice? Because a lot of us know it, but don't always recognize we need to be doing it, the importance of doing it.
So it's really kind of been an evolution for me. So I've always been committed to finding out ways to eliminate suffering and trauma as fast as possible. It was an unknowing question that I had early in life. And as I've just continued on my own health and wellness journey and being of service to our family and to our people, it's been a natural evolution. So for me, I came across body language and language maybe about 8 years ago. And when I came across that stuff, I dove all in because of how fast I saw it work, how effective it is. Anytime someone's got a pain, an issue, a broken bone, a skin rash, an irritation, arthritis, where it shows up, all of it is code. And we can use every bit of it to rewire or recode an experience and have validation that what we did just worked on the spot. So that way you don't have to guess about it. That's another reason why I love body language because, hey, is your solar plexus lighter? Yeah, it is. I can breathe easier. Okay. Your shoulder blades relaxed? Yeah, they are. So that way we have real-time feedback now on exactly what's working.
Now, I believe the body language and like we're saying, the way we speak is important. I don't believe, and I don't want people to think that it is a substitute for, like for me, rheumatoid arthritis, had it since I was 6. I might be able to ease some of the stress and pain with that, but I don't believe that I'm going to think myself out of the rheumatoid arthritis that is attacking my body. I am open to your thoughts on that, though.
Talk about it for sure. And just know I love you. There's zero judgment, right? It's important to know that because, like, when we start touching on this stuff, people are like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey, man, I love you. I'm on your team. I'm just only here to share what I've seen work." And just so you know, I work with people with Parkinson's and cancer and AIDS and all kinds of stuff. So there's nothing you're going to say that's going to surprise me or anything. So just know I love you regardless, right? So let's talk about it for a second, okay? First off, rheumatoid or just Arthur is what I call it when I'm speaking online. You got to be careful. It's going to be anger, resentment, frustration. So when you think about where things are going on, like hands are handling, feet are understanding, legs are moving forward. If you think about what was going on early in life, that will give us some great indication. Like you said, 6. Where are you experiencing it mostly at?
I remember when I was 6, I was hurting a lot in my knees. As an adult, my most affected joints are hands and feet.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's break it down,
Sure.
right? So knees, front of our knees is about unforgiveness. Right side, masculine figure, meaning it could be a male. It also could be a masculine female. Okay, so right knee, unforgiveness, or unforgiveness with something that has been done. Okay, left side is unforgiveness with a feminine figure or something that has been received. Okay, and I'll help you do all this and we can talk some now, but if you want to talk about offline, we can, and I'll be more specific with him, just giving you some blanket information so you can, connect some dots, right? Because generally speaking, when we're that young, we don't have a lot of filters and we absorb everything from mom and dad. And if we absorb stuff from mom and dad and we have no critical faculty places in there to stop it or say, hey, no, that's not mine, our body will continue activating on it, right? So knees, unforgiveness, or partnership. So I give myself permission to forgive dad, mom, former whoever, and I give myself permission to forgive myself. Those are important ones. Hands are about handling, okay? And you can even break them down to where your thumb is your will or your thyroid or your will to take action or your will to handle, okay? Your pointer finger is direction finger. Middle finger is your God-given strengths. Health and beauty for your ring, and then sex, money, and desires for your fingers. Your phalanges, the first phalange is thoughts, second one is practical execution, and the third one closest to the palm is physically related to self or others. So you can get very specific. A couple of things that I'd offer to you to start using to test out is I give myself permission to be flexible with what I'm handling.
Okay.
If there's any unforgiveness with some, I give myself permission to forgive blank, 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 and I give myself permission to move forward with grace, peace, and ease. So there are things that you can do, and I can help you with this if you choose. Something to think about. If you pull up one person at a time who was in your life at that point in time, we can track what your body is telling us and give and really pull up some data that will be helpful. Let me just tell you this. I've seen hearing come back. I've seen eyes straighten out. I've seen things that ain't supposed to happen all the time because people just don't know that there's a big emotional correlation to it. And they go into the Western medicine system and the doc says, oh, we have blank, 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 and blank. No, I have symptoms of blah, blah, blah that happen because of something. Once I can find the thing and I can clean up the emotions connected to it, the body's going to come back into harmony. And I'll help you with all this stuff, just some things to think about, right?
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I want to make sure that we have time to close. I want to make sure people know where they can go to reach out to you and get started on learning from you. And you said you had a book. Tell everybody where they can get all of that
Yeah,
stuff.
so here's the best thing to do. So one of my brand pages is called Think Great, Lose Weight. Okay, the best thing to do is just use my text message number. It comes to me. I'll say hi to you. You'll get your chart, and then I'll tell you what to do, and I'll take you to all your resources because I have interviews with Jillian Michaels, Dr. Stephen Gundry, William Davis, tons of resources for you. The text number is 512-648-5440. When you reply, just reply chart. Don't put a period. Don't say, hey, Brian, just reply chart. This will pop up for you, and I'll see you when you get back there, and then I'll send you an audio message so you know it's me. And then I'll do a free chat with you, and I'll do some stuff like we did today and help you clean some stuff up and really get you to where you need. Because I have more ways to help you out than I can sit here and rattle off in a couple minutes. Just do
Awesome.
that. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for sharing your journey and for sharing your knowledge with us. Appreciate your time.